This is the Plain English Real Estate Show with your host, Rowena Patton, a show that focuses on the real estate market in terms you can easily understand. Call Rowena now. The number is 240-9962 or 1-800-570-9962. Now here's the English girl in the mountains, the agent that I would trust, Rowena Patton.
I'm not touching anything on the buttons now because Joseph is on the air. Good morning, Joseph. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
Apparently, I have all kinds of technology challenges today. I think I didn't sleep very well, so it's like, oh my gosh, there's buttons to press and things to do. How are you doing this morning? What's your day going like?
It's going pretty good. So you're not the only one that's challenged with that type of thing. But
Oh, dear.
I wanted to ask.
Good Friday night, Joseph?
Excuse me?
Did you have a good Friday night? Do anything fun?
I did.
Oh.
Spectacular.
Oh, nice.
So what's your opinion on starting a house to sell right now? Is it a bad time locally for like the $400,000 probably plus neighborhood?
Well, what do you mean in starting one? Do you mean starting to buy one or build one or?
Building one to sell.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so are you a builder or a flipper, or what do you do, Joseph?
A builder.
Oh,
I'm a builder.
We should talk. Okay,
Definitely.
so 400,000, great price point. That's what most people can afford. I started off talking about that at the top of the hour, actually. You know, so many of our prices have gone so crazy that the average person can't reach it. Even 400 is a push, honestly. But you're capturing about 70% of the market if you keep it below that 400. How big is it?
This house is between 8 and 900, the low eights actually, but it does have a chunk of land with it. It has like almost 8 acres.
Oh, wow. Can you build another house on the acreage, or it won't support another one?
It wouldn't support another one. It's got some right-of-way issues on the back part of the property, but it's really nice overlooking a pond. You know, it's kind of unique.
That's lovely. So a lot of people want acreage. So many times people are called, we have people coming here from Texas, from California, from New York, from DC, all over the place. And most people want at least, well, definitely Florida, most people want acreage for bragging rights. So when you can say, I live on 8 acres, nobody says, how big's your house, right? So you got a little bitty house that I'm sure you're going to make a little jewel box out of. How many bedrooms does it have?
It's hopefully going to have 2.
Perfect. Okay. 2 is fine. If you can do a 2-2 or even a 2-1, but definitely a 2-2, most people want that privacy, even especially if it's a smaller house on that acreage. It might be. What are you thinking are the most likely kind of people that would move into it? Is it a second home? Is it a couple? Is it a single? Like, what's your thoughts on that? Because I'm not even allowed to say that as a realtor, but you are.
Right. I'm thinking it's going to be a second home or possibly like a VRBO. A lot of people in that area, there is 3 houses right next door where or 2 of the 3 are VRBOs part-time, and then the people live there, who own the house, come in here and there and stay.
That's how people are buying second homes now, and it's very hard to see figures on that because when you get an STR, a short-term rental investor, they don't say, oh, this is also going to be my second home. I mean, they do to us, but nobody tracks those figures that I've found at least. And we've always dealt with a lot of second homes in this market. And the question almost always now is, I'd like to find something that I can rent out when I'm not here, which makes perfect sense, right? So do you have some kind of storage closet in it where someone can lock up all the goodies when they go away? I guess you could put an outbuilding for that, actually, almost.
There's definitely enough room for an outbuilding. We were going to put a small outbuilding and have a jacuzzi under it, but I think we're going to put a little jacuzzi under the back porch, so we have room for outbuilding.
That sounds wonderful. I can see the ad now. Does it have any? So you said it's got a pond there. Does it have any views or anything like that?
Nothing really long range, but
okay. You got ridgeline.
It's on a little hill overlooking the pond, and so you can see I guess medium length views, but
Nice.
nothing super long.
That doesn't matter. As long as you've got views, that's killer. And you've got a pond. I mean, it's always nice to have a pond, right? Is the pond big enough to put a little boat on or something, a little tiny boat?
Oh, yeah. It's got a little John boat on it right now.
Oh, what's a John boat?
A small, like approximately 14-foot long boat. And there's fish in there and deer every morning around it.
Oh my gosh! Actually, I just saw a deer coming into the radio show this morning. Did you see the doe on the way in, Randy? No. It was so cool.
It was turkeys on my way in.
I love that. I see the turkeys every time, but the doe's just standing there looking at me. I'm like, I've got a show to go and do. So yeah, imagine now somebody from Florida. I'm seeing the pictures now, and I haven't even seen your property, but you've got views. It's on a little hill by the pond. Even that sounds like Beatrix Potter, if you know who that is. It's got a little John boat down there. Can we spray the John boat red or something, or put a little red flag on it or something? And then we've got...
You're not going to believe this, but it's already red.
Oh my gosh. That is so funny. And we'll go and steal some bulrushes, some cattails to put at the side of it. It's a new home. It's a 2-2. It's an 820. So if you're interested in buying this home, give us a call, 828-333-4483. Or you can call in on the show and we'll get Joe talking about it as well. Sorry, Joseph, I'm calling you Joe. That sounds like a good thing to build. It's always a good time to build because people want new houses. And you've got something that's unique. You've got those 8 acres. It will be suitable for a VRBO because I'm guessing as a builder, you know the regulations that we can't do STR in the city of Asheville. And that may push out a bit further as well. We have to be a little bit careful with that because my guess is that at some point that will push out a bit further than the city. But the other thing we can think of is MTR, medium-term rental. I made that term up this week. A lot of traveling nurses and a lot of people who are building a house or maybe moving into the area want something for 3 or 4 months, or even 6 months. So while the rents aren't going to be as high as an STR, the 6-month rental is obviously going to be a lot higher than a year's rental. But people will pay a little bit more not to be locked into a year's lease and not to be locked into one of these apartment buildings, which there's so many now. But, they might have dogs or something like that. Do you have any animals, Joseph?
I do. I have a couple dogs. I think Woodfin has actually put a stop to the VRBO thing, the short-term rental as well.
Yes.
I built a house for a client, and they actually sold it right off the bat, and the guy who bought it was from California, and he bought it sight unseen.
Wow.
And turned it into a VRBO, and they got grandfathered in, but after that, it's not happening over there.
Yeah,
anymore.
it's really sad when you think that people have bought things thinking that they can do that, and sometimes they're not grandfathered in, which can be very tricky. You can actually do it in Asheville, but it has to be homesteaded, and you have to get all kinds of permits, and they make it very, very difficult. In other words, the homesteading piece just means that you've got to live in the house, and you can rent out a portion of your house. But there's all kinds of rules, like you can't have a full-size range in there because then they think you might do a long-term rental, which, makes it tricky.
There's a certain amount of officials that want to keep your property values down, basically.
Yes, yeah. The worst people it hits, we could have a whole show on STRs, but the worst, it hits the hardest for people that have maybe just inherited a property and they don't want to let it go. It's their parents' property. They don't want to let it go. And they're like, oh, we'll just short-term rental it. And then they find out they can't. Or what I saw the last time around, actually, when we went into this period of price reductions, which is what we're seeing now, that's going to lead to lower prices. It's going to go on for quite a long time. What I saw last time, particularly in condo buildings, is that people lose their job or they have to move to a different part of their country. Maybe one of their parents gets sick or something like that. And they move out, but they're not allowed to rent out their condo. That's very common in condo buildings, which means that really depresses prices because the amount of foreclosures we saw because of that happening, because they weren't allowed to rent them out, which is terrible, right? Now, of course, you can rent houses out in Asheville. It just has to be I don't know how they could ever stop you renting houses out, but at the end of the day, I don't know. It's our property. We should be able to do what we want with it, right?
Absolutely.
That's kind of the way I feel about it. And there's all they claim that Airbnbs really hit affordable housing, but a lot of the people that I find are buying Airbnbs are not wealthy people. These are mom and pops or people that, inherit a home and don't want to let it go. They're not big wealth. Everybody thinks of STRs of being these groups of big wealthy investors that are buying up all these homes. And in the main, that's not what it is. That's at least not what I see of people coming in. So I think you've got a red John boat which is perfect. We're going to get some. Is the pond pretty? Do you have some nice cattails in there and that kind of thing?
It's got some nice little trees coming up around, weeping willows and stuff like that.
Oh, good. What kind of fish is in there?
Mostly largemouth bass.
Ooh. You better
very large.
You better send me
koi.
Directions so I can come up and catch some fish and I know what I'm having for dinner tonight.
There you go.
But yeah, I think if your question is, are you safe building it? I think you are. Go for, do high level on a budget. You know what that means as a builder. I'm guessing you've built a few before. This is not your first foray into building.
A few, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, if you've done a few, you know what you're doing. And, people expect higher end now. So, for example, you probably don't want to put granite in. You probably want to put quartz or silestone in. And at that size of square footage, you're probably talking about the difference of $1,000. It is worth investing that. That makes a big difference. Especially when, as we know, I should ask you about that. So can you give me some reasoning why smaller houses are twice as much per square foot? This is often what it is. They're normally 40, 50% more, and people are always confused by it. I had my theory. I don't know if you heard it earlier.
Well, I don't know. Some of the reasons why you would think it would be cheaper in a lot of ways, but you still have a lot of the same components, the well and the driveway and all that stuff.
Yes, exactly. So, and that's exactly what I was saying. So whether you build, so let's talk about the fact let's say you're pouring the foundation. Whether if you're pouring a foundation that's for an 800 square foot house or for a 2,000 or 1,600 square foot house, if it's going up, the foundation still costs the same. Right, so
roughly to a certain point, yes.
Well, I mean, if you're going up on the house, the foundation,
yep.
if the footprint is 820, and then you're going up at 1640 because you're building on the second floor, your footprint's still the same. So, how much does it cost to? I mean, just throw out a figure, wild figure of pouring a concrete slab to put your house on. Or it's probably not a concrete slab, whatever you call it.
Let's just say the average price was $10,000.
$10,000. Okay, so it's going to cost you $10,000. That $10,000 is now you've got 820 square feet divided by $10,000, or 1,600 and whatever that is, 40 square feet divided by $10,000. So that's a lot more per square foot, right there, just for the concrete. And then if you've got let's say you've got a long driveway, you've got 8 acres. So let's say you've got 100 feet of driveway. Let's say you've got 200 feet of driveway, and we want to put tarmac on it. We want to put asphalt on it. How much is that going to cost?
Probably 200 feet, which is in my case. So that would, in asphalt, it would probably be, I don't know, just say 15, 20 grand at least.
I love
this.
No, I love this. You're doing really well. So thank you, because I'm really putting you on the spot. So you've got another $20,000. So Matt, when you're selling a house, right, if you look on any of our sites, go to mountainhomehunt.com, you'll see it's all the same. That house isn't going to say, oh, well, it will tell you it's got more acreage, and it will tell you that it's got a, asphalt driveway and a pond and everything else. But all those costs, so that $20,000 now is spread over 820 or 1,640 square feet, right? So obviously $20,000 spread over 1,640 is going to be half the price per square foot of I'm not explaining it very well, am I, Joseph? Can you do a better job
than me?
You're doing
fine.
I am? Okay.
You're doing fine, yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's just a numbers game that if you have more square feet, then I think you said it really well in the beginning. You said a lot of the components are the same. So your well could easily be $20,000, right? Sometimes they're less than that, just depending. You're going to have 15 in your septic, about right?
It's right. You're probably going to hit 10, 20 grand on a well, depending on how deep, of course. But
yeah,
it's better to go ahead and figure at least 10,000.
Can you name this song, Joseph? How deep is your well?
No, I cannot.
Oh, you can't? That's a shame. If you want to call in, you can win a trivia prize, 828-570-9962. It was the Bee Gees. Never mind.
Ah, that's why.
Yeah,
yep.
that you don't like the Bee Gees, Joseph?
I'm not a Bee Gees fan. I had to.
Oh, well, in that case,
I hear them on the radio when I was a kid, but I definitely was not a Bee Gees album owner.
Oh,
well,
I'm not sure if I can help you sell your house. I'm just kidding. So we're at 35. Okay, so we're at $35,000 for the well and the septic, and we don't know because we don't know how far we're going to drill and everything else. We have to guess these things. We're at $20,000 for the driveway. We're at $10,000 for the concrete. I'm surprised it's not more than that, honestly. What else is in the fixed components that you can think of? So we've got a well, septic, we've got a driveway, we've got the concrete. What else?
I mean, those are the main ones right off the bat. But I guess land, you didn't say anything about the land, but you're still going to be roughly the same size a lot.
It's got to be 50,000 in the land, right, for a decent piece of land. So now we're at 50, 60, 70, 80, 115, I think I'm at. So now you've got 115,000 spread out over the 820 square feet or the 1640 square feet. Obviously, over the extra square footage, it's half the price.
And you have the time component, so the houses are roughly going to take, they're going to roughly be the same amount of time to build it. Obviously, a small one will be a little less, but somebody wants to make roughly the same profit as they do on one that's a few hundred square feet bigger.
Oh, that's interesting. I'd never thought of it that way. Yeah, so it's that, it's like, oh, I'll build it in half. So obviously, an 820 square foot house doesn't take 6 months, and the 1640 takes a year. It doesn't work like that, right?
Right.
It's that puzzle piece again. Anyway, I've taken up your whole Saturday morning, Joseph. Thank you so much. I will be in touch.
Answer my questions.
Well, I hope so. I hope I got your questions answered. And yes, I think you're pretty safe at that 400,000 mark. You've got the pond, you've got the views. Just make sure you get those 2 bedrooms in, 2 baths, whatever it takes, because you do not want a 1-bedroom in this market at 400,000. That would not be good.
Gotcha.
All right, my dear. You have a great day. Thank you so much for calling in. It's very fun talking to you.
This has been the Plain English Real Estate Show with Rowena Patton. Visit Rowena and post your questions at radioasheville.com or call her at 828-210-1648.